take off your head, unscrew your head, fill it with positivity, knowledge, power, confidence, courage, everything that's good, and leave you as a new person. He doesn't just talk to you, he literally talks through you. So without further ado, please help us. Welcome to the stage, Senior Vice President.
Together and feel alright. Oh, oh, oh. Come on, Tooks. Come on.
Oh, Lord of mercy. We're going to have a day today. Where my Jamaicans up in the world? Where are y'all? Yes! What y'all people, y'all men, y'all women? Respects to all of you. Hello, AC and Europe.
Hello.
Hello, AC and Europe. Hello. Today has been an unbelievable day. I've been watching, listening, learning, getting the training for everybody that got on this stage. Could you please give them a huge round of applause for pouring out their hearts? These people put in so much effort to make this an incredible event. This is history in the making. I can't believe that this is the stage where royalty has been on, that this is the stage has entertained some of the greatest people in music and film, and that all of you are here as business people looking at this opportunity, at this historic occasion, the 20th anniversary event of AC in UK. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. You know, anytime I get to follow one of the founders of this company, I want you to understand that Mr. Mike Coopers is not just an incredible co-founder of ACN. He's one of the greatest trainers and leaders I've ever met in my entire life. And when you get a chance to be around people that make you better, help you grow, help you think on another level, you are grateful to God for that opportunity. If you ever have an opportunity to meet this man, talk to this man, learn just 1 minute of his time can completely change your life. Please give him a huge round of applause. Now we have some people that volunteer here. They came early, they left late, or they're gonna be leaving late. They were up at the crack of dawn, making sure that this event was perfect. They're stationed all around the room. If you've helped to volunteer for this event, please stand up or put your hands up so we can give you the proper due for your work that you put in. And last but not least, the leaders, all of the regional vice presidents and senior vice presidents, the people that got their licensing to get started in this company. They saw the business before you, they paid a price before you, they're willing to work hard to pursue something for themselves and their families. And here's what's amazing, in the pursuit of changing their lives, they've changed tens of thousands of lives all around the world. And if it wasn't for these leaders who had the vision to get started when there was nothing in documentation here, these leaders stepped into what we call the gap. And you always need people who are willing to step into the gap and show what's possible. Can I have all the RVPs and SVPs please stand up so we can give you your proper due? I'm excited. You know, when I got on my flight, I was sitting next to somebody and they said, so are you going to the UK for business or pleasure? I said, yes. And he said, okay. I said, where are you going? He said, for work. I said, ooh. So, you know, we had a long flight. I didn't want to talk to him about the business at the very beginning because I had like 8 hours to talk to this man, right? So right before we were about to get off, he said, I'd love to keep in contact with you and find out more about your business. I'm like, yes, you would. You would like that. Because I know that this company changes lives. And for those of you who are guests here, you may have looked at this for the first time or second time. Do me a favor, just put your hands up for a second. All the guests that came out today, just on a total faith walk. No, there's no quiz. Just want to see who you are. Okay, I see you from the top all the way up. Let me acknowledge you for a second. I want to acknowledge you because you did something that most people wouldn't do. See, on a Saturday, most people look at Saturday as their day off. So the thought of going to a business event on your day off is not necessarily something that most people would do. The fact that you're here says everything about you. It says at least you're open. Do you agree? You're at least open to look. Well, if you're open to look, do you agree that you saw something incredible today? How many of you that are guests love the concept of residual income? Do it once, paid years later. Does that sound like a good idea to you? Well, so if it sounds like so, you took the first step. The first step was you came. The second step was you listened. But there's a third step. Because if something makes sense, then it makes sense to do.
Yes.
Here's what's never made sense to me. I get dressed up. I come here about a business. They talk about like blue-green energy, get paid when people flip on lights and pay their gas bills, and they say these things, and then I leave the event and I go back to everything and have it be the same. Nothing after today for you should be the same.
That's right.
Guests in this room, in the next 12 months, your entire world should look completely different because you have the ability to change everything with this company with residual income. So do me a favor, whether you're a guest or not, look at the person on your left and on your right and say, I'm going to pay attention.
I'm going to pay attention.
Now, I want you to repeat after me. I love Jamaicans. Yes. We got all the important stuff handled. I might never get invited back here again. Let's see after I'm done. So first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here.
Hold on. That's it. Oh, amazing.
I want to say, let's just talk.
Should I do a
Can we
screenshot?
talk?
Yeah.
I want to talk to
Oh,
you
you've done it.
like you're sitting here right beside me. We're just having a conversation, even though there's like almost 3,000 of you.
Yes.
I want to just like have a real conversation, and I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to just be very open. I know some of you have very impressive titles, and you have all these merits and degrees, and you're very, very, very sharp people. I'm a very simple person. So I'm going to talk to you in the simplistic way that I think. Is that okay? Yeah. So I want to talk to you about the mind. And I want to talk to you about your mind and my mind and a lot of other people's minds all around the world. And what I want to do is I want to give you this number, 60 to 80,000. That's the first set of numbers I'm going to give you. That's the average number of thoughts a human being has a day. Can you believe that? 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. How many of you like, I'm impressive? Like, I knew there was something about me. That's the number of thoughts per day. Here's another interesting number, 80%. Now, 80% number is a very interesting number because 80% represents the number of negative thoughts you have per day. That means you have an average minimum of 48,000 negative thoughts per day. You wake up in the mirror. Honey, have I gained some weight? Yes. Oh, thanks. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever listened to yourself? Have you ever listened to the things you say? Someone says, how are you? I'm hanging in there. What a powerful statement that is. Real motivation. Not only the things that come out of your mouth, what about the things that are in your head that don't come out your mouth? How many of you married people know what I'm talking about? Like, yes, honey. And if you can measure your day, 80% of the things that you think about in the course of a day are negative things. And so you say to yourself, by the time someone sees our business, you think that we're talking to you, but we're talking to the 48,000 negative thoughts compounded by every day times the number of years you've been on this planet. So we're saying opportunity change your life. You're like, you're not going to change my life. I'm going to stay right where I am. I don't want to be free. Are you enjoying yourself so far? I'm only on my fourth slide. And the reason why, so, for all of you to know, is there's something called negative bias. And negative bias is a very simple concept. It basically says that negative bias is the tendency for humans to pay more attention or give weight to negative experiences or neutral experiences or over positive experiences, even when negative experiences are inconsequential. Humans tend to focus on the negative. So, you get a very nice car. How many of you remember the time you got the car, like the car that you were excited to get in, right? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that when you bought that, when you pulled off, didn't it smell incredible? Mm-hmm. The new car smell. How many of you know the new car smell? It's perfect, isn't it? And you get in your beautiful new car and you're driving and then you're in London traffic.
Now, why did I even get it?
Now, all of a sudden you're irritated. You forgot the fact that you're in your beautiful new car. You're sitting in traffic, and so you spend, let's say, 30 minutes in traffic. You spend 30 minutes in traffic, thinking about the traffic and forgetting the car. Hey, married people. You remember when they were perfect? Gentlemen, remember when she walked in the room? She just glided in the room. Ladies, remember when he came in, you're like, oh, he's so handsome.
And now, yeah.
Remember the way they chewed their food was perfect? Like, oh, I love the way her mouth curls up. Oh, it's so adorable. Yeah, I don't even remember these days. A few years later, she doesn't glide anymore, she waddles in the room. His six-pack has expanded into a little bit of a... And that cute little chewing thing that she did that was so adorable, now you're like, are you gonna have another piece of chicken?
As in, really?
Same person, different observation. They never changed. What you chose to focus in on changed. And as long as you're in control of your focus, and your focus tends to go to negative, then no matter what we say to you, unless you're conscious of it, unless you're conscious of it, perhaps now you are maybe for the first time in your life, then you have to constantly be a guardian at the doorway of your mind. Because if you're not a guardian at the doorway of your mind, not only will you have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts, you surround yourself with people who have more negative thoughts than positive thoughts, and now everything's a problem. So some of you are going to hear what we've said today, go home, talk to your 48,000 minimum per day negative thinking friends. Hey, I saw this opportunity. Don't do it! It will never work. My cousin's dog sitter's best friend tried and lost $10 million. Am I making sense?
Yes.
Look at the person left and say, I think he's making sense.
I think it's making sense.
Who in here has great eyesight? Like perfect, like 20/20 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Perfect eyesight, okay?
I did laser surgery.
Got it.
Yeah.
Like you've been measured and they said you have perfect vision. How many of you know you were very proud of that?
Yeah.
Like you said, like you're like perfect? Because we're always looking for a reason to like say, yeah, we're good. So perfect vision is easily measurable. They have a chart, you look at the chart, that's the way to see. The definition of sight is the faculty or power of seeing. That's very, very, very simple. And everybody sees with their
eyes.
Very obvious. The thing that's amazing about your eyes, have you ever studied your eyes? You see, here's something I want you to think about, okay? Like if you actually took time to learn about how incredible you were, nothing would ever stop you. But because most people don't know how incredible we really, really are, like even your eyes, that you don't see your eyes. So you just don't think about your eyes. Yet, 80% of all of your learning comes through your eyes. 80%. Not only that, it's the only organ more complex than the eye is the brain. Not only that, in an average life, your eyes will see 24 million different images. Not only that, the human eye only sees 3 colors, red, blue, and green. Everything that you see is your eyes combining it for you to form new colors. Okay, let's just pause on that one for a second. You're telling me the eye itself can only see red, blue, and green. So when I look at black, my eyes are looking at the thing and is combining it to create a color that it really can't see, but it's making me see a color that it doesn't exist in its own frame of reference. Oh, okay, yeah. That's just your eyes. Blind people can see their dreams as long as they weren't born blind. So a person with no sight, if at some point they had sight, at any point in time, they have the ability to dream in color in things they haven't seen yet. You guys are like, did they really fly this crazy man in? Listen to this. The only cells that survive from the time you were born until your death are in your eyes. So every other cell in your body is constantly changing. Yet your eyes, from the moment you were born to are no longer here, are consistent. So you know the expression seeing is believing. Because that's what it really is for you. That's what it is for all of us. And you trust so much of what you see. That's why YouTube is so powerful. Because what you see, you trust. But I want to give you the conversation of the difference between these two words, sight and vision. Now, interestingly enough, we're going to have a light bulb moment. Did you know that the first definition of vision is the faculty or state of being able to see? It's the exact same definition of sight. But I want to talk to you about the second definition, which is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk to you about this. I'm just gonna hug myself for a second. Because I just know that somebody in this arena, in this hall, is gonna get it. And
let's go.
Whoever gets it, you are going to completely change your life. I hope someone got that moment on video. Please send it to me. What is the date that you see there? Okay. Read that out loud.
The ability to plan the future with imagination or wisdom.
Okay. What is the date? Read that one more time, a little bit louder.
The ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom.
Okay. So, I love the Calvin Kleins. Like I saw that one on Amazon and I ordered a pair. How was it in January of 2019? This was Mr. Mukhtar, and then in August.
Get. Look at that.
Six-pack.
Oh boy.
I want to give you this one more time. Say that again.
The ability to think about
Plan the future with imagination or vision.
So in January 2019, he displayed the ability to think about,
Or plan the future with imagination or wisdom.
and in August created.
the future.
That's good.
I need you to listen because this is a display of an important point. For most people, they stay here because, hold on, they focus only in on what they see. Because they're only using their and not their
Vision.
Vision. Wow.
You see, the gap, this person, we walk by, how many of you walk by people like this all the time? All the time. I live in Maryland, the United States, and all the time. Has anyone ever wondered how that happens to somebody? Has anyone ever asked somebody how that's happened?
Yes, I have.
I have. One person. I said, just tell me your story. And they were a teacher, and they went through a bad divorce. And in the divorce, the kids went with their ex, and it threw them into drinking, which took them into drugs, and then they lost their job because they couldn't perform anymore. Then they were kicked out of their apartment because they couldn't pay the rent because they lost their job. And next thing you know, they're on the streets in Baltimore. Does that make sense? Now, it's easy to look at someone and the moment you see them to judge them because you're only seeing them. You don't know what created the story that created them to be what you see right now. But yet the successful person has the experience of whatever they experience. Maybe they experience the exact same thing, but their interpretation of what they've experienced is totally different. Maybe they had the divorce. Maybe the separation was not good, but instead of having that to be a reason to give up all power, they took that as a reason to become empowered. Who's ever been fired before? Oh, sorry, released from employment. Is that a gentle way of saying it? I'll never forget when I was released from employment. I went to the office like a normal day, and they said, hey, we want to just talk to you for a minute. And I walked in, and I walked into my manager's office, and he said, we're making some changes, and we have to let you go. Now, when you hear words like that, the moment you hear words like that, you go into complete, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. How many of you know what I'm talking about? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to, this is what I went to. So even though he was talking, I couldn't really hear what he was saying because I was in panic. And let me tell you why. Because in that moment, I couldn't see anything other than that moment because I was looking at him, but in that moment, all my vision was lost. When you lose your vision for your life, you end up becoming part of someone else's vision for their life. Some people in this room are footballers that have never played professionally because at some point, the vision was lost. Singers that have never had an album. Actors or actresses that have never been on a stage or a screen. In this room are talents that the world has never seen because at some point, you kept looking at your current situation with your eyes. You kept seeing what was, and you lost the imagination for what could be. And so by the time, again, we invite you to look at our business, we say not only this, We know you can do it, and we will help you do it. You're hearing what we're saying. You're watching us talk to you. But if you can't let go of what was, what hasn't happened, all the disappointments that you've already experienced in your life, then even though this is a blank slate, even though this is an open stage, even though no one here is judging you, you hear our words, and instead of looking at what's possible, and I don't mean financially, I mean emotionally. Because some people are like this right now emotionally. On the outside, everything looks great. Nice shoes, nice shirts, nice pants, blouses, dresses, all that. But inside, it's not so great. And here you have a room of people that are trying to encourage and lift you up. But you have to be prepared to lift yourself up. You know, so my question is, what's real? The things you see or the things you imagine?
The things you imagine. Vision.
It's a good question. They both are.
Let me tell you something. An example what Mukhtar just gave, both people were living in the same body at the same time.
Oh, yes.
Listen to what I'm telling you. The you that you are now and the financially free you are both living in the same body at the same time.
Wow.
Wow.
But the separation between those two people is commitment.
That's right.
See, from where I am to where I want to be, the bridge is commitment. Mr. Mukhtar, how many days a week were you in the gym? 5 days a week. That sounds like a job. How many hours for those 5 days per day? 2 hours a day, so 10 hours per week. Got it. Sounds like a part-time job. 4 hours on the treadmill. What if your part-time job, if you looked at it as such, what if you could commit to yourself that your part-time job is to put yourself in optimal health? Now, it doesn't pay much money. You just live longer. Maybe instead of the fish and chips, you have a salad. Maybe instead of the candy bar, you have a glass of water. Maybe instead of watching television, you're on the treadmill. And in the beginning, let me help you out. It's terrible. Is it? Was it terrible? It was awful. Awful. Why? Because you don't want to do it. See, commitment is doing something you don't want to do that you know you should do. Let me tell you something. When I go to the gym, I get in the car, and I'm not, oh, I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, God. Jesus, help me. I'm not even Catholic, and I'm doing Catholic things. I'm like, whatever it takes to just get me in the building. When I'm driving late at night to do a presentation for this business, And I know I'm gonna get home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. That's not something that's fun. But let me tell you what is fun. What's incredible, more than fun, is saying a thing and then doing it. You see, when you become a person that can say a thing and then do it, you beat 99% of everybody that says a thing and it's never done. That means that I know when you say a thing, I can count on you. Let me tell you how money works. Money only goes to people it can count on.
That's right.
Guy says I have no money, it means that they can't count on you. Someone's like, ouch. So in America we have credit ratings. You have personal credit ratings? What do you call it? Just personal credit rating? What do you call it? Credit score. Okay, got it. Has anyone ever had a not so great credit score? Raise your hand with pride. That's right. Look around the room. You weren't alone. Yes. Yes. So in America, we have something called a secured credit card. Do you have secured credit cards? Basically, you take your money and you put it in a bank, and then they loan you money based on the amount of money you put in the bank on a credit card. So that'll be your line of credit. So I'll never forget the day I went to the bank and I brought $500 to put into an account to get and it said guaranteed credit card. And I went to the bank and I brought my money and I put my $500 in, and I said, yes, I'd like to apply for a secure credit card. They said, no problem, let me run your credit. I said, no problem, gave my credit. They said, I'm sorry, sir, we can't accept you. I'm like, that's my money. What do you mean? Like, I can only loan against my own money. Yeah, I understand, sir, but you're in a high risk profile. I said, but it's my money that I would be risking. Yes, sir, on certain occasions, see the asterisk by the guarantee? You're the asterisk. I left that bank angry at the bank. They lied to me. False advertising. I was irritated. I never for once thought, hey, James, you do have bad credit. You see, in other words, it was really easy for me to look at them as being the problem. It wasn't until I became more mature, I said to myself, knowing me back then, I wouldn't have loaned me money. And it was my money I was loaning me. Because I had no sense of commitment. If I said A, Z happened. If I said Y, B happened. If I said I'll be there, it may or may not happen. How many know what I'm talking about? And one day I finally realized that I've just got to stop that, because you got to look at the evidence. When the evidence says it's not working, why keep doing it? So I decided to get committed. Here's what I decided to do. As much as I hated it in the beginning, I said whatever I say I'm just going to do, because the moment I said it, I meant to do it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let me give you an example. If I said I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and go for a walk, when I said that, it's what I intended to do. So here's what I said. I'm not going to break my promise to myself. Now look at the person next to you on your left and on your right and tell them the last time you broke a promise to yourself.
Today. I'm meant to be out of here by 5.
Yeah, I meant to go. I told them to work. I'll be there by 2 or 3.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just
Mine is today. I'm meant to leave here by 5.
How many was it fairly recently? Like an hour ago. Everybody, there's a simple thing that if you take away, if you just take this away, change your life. Just repeat after me. I commit to my commitments. If you just people will run to join you in this business. Because most of the world has people that their word and their promises is like a gust of wind. Their word has no power. And you know who they are, that's why you don't trust them. You need to be able to trust the word of somebody to do what they say they're going to do. And the more you commit, here's what happens. It's like, you know, I saw this man, and he was making this carving. And it was just a slab. And he got the chisel and he got the hammer. And he just started carving it up. And there's a little drill. And I said, what are you making? He said, an elephant. Now, I'm looking at a slab. And I'm thinking, how are you seeing an elephant in this slab? And he said, the elephant's in the slab. I've just got to set it free. Are you listening? If you're listening, say, I'm listening.
I'm listening.
The financially free person is inside of you.
Just gonna set them free.
You've just got to
Wow.
and it's your discipline that creates your freedom. Your discipline is not a cage. Your discipline is your freedom. Because when you can exert discipline because you see what you want for your life and you're willing to go and do the work necessary to get it, you're now free, because most people have no discipline. Let me share this with you. You can change every aspect of your life with commitment. You can. But your commitment and your vision are tied. The reason why people don't commit is because they don't see why they should.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing. I'm telling you to leap into your vision. I'm telling you, leap into your vision. Because between where you are and where you want to be, there's always two yous. And there's always a pull. And most people around you, true fact, don't want to see you rise. Because your rising is a spotlight on their descending. Because they had dreams, goals, vision, hopes, wishes, and they gave up. And so now they've settled. And everything that settles ends up on the bottom. Everything that settles ends up on the bottom. And they settled. They settled years ago. They were supposed to be this, but now they're way over there, and they have no idea how they got over there. So here you come talking about, oh, I'm going to be free. I got this business. I'm going to earn residual income. I'm going to do this. And because of where they are in their lives, 48,000 negative thoughts minimum just today. You come and you have this great idea and vision, and you're trying to rise, and they're reaching for you. Come back down. No. You're an accountant. No. You're an engineer. You're not supposed to be, no. Don't come back. You can't do that. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Raise that, look around the room. Raise hands high if you've ever had a dream vision in your heart, and the people closest to you. Let me tell you about vampires. When Bram Stoker wrote the story of the original Dracula, in that story, a vampire could not bite you unless you invite them into your home. They could not cross over into the threshold of your house unless you said, come in. You had to invite them in. Vampires suck the life out of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of you have some vampires with your last name. And because you have a close relationship with them, even though they're draining the source of your life, Even though when you leave the conversation, you're sleepy. You know what I'm talking about? When you talk to people, you're like, I need a nap. You keep taking your dreams and your visions and you lay them at the altar for someone else to burn. And every time you bring something new, they do the same thing, and it makes you take a step back. Not today. New plan. Ready for the new plan? I'm rising. I'm rising. I'm rising. Let me tell you, when I went on my rise, I went to my first event. I got so fired up, I went home, I had this swag attack. I was like, I went to work. After my first international event, I walked to work, I was like, I ain't gonna be here very long. They said, James, you went away for the weekend. How's your weekend? It was incredible. How was yours? Oh, you know, pretty good. What did you learn? What did you do? I met some new friends. Oh, that's nice. I'm like, in my head, you have no idea. And so I'm working my job, but even though I'm working my job, I'm not there anymore. I'm physically doing the work, but I'm so far into my vision, I can't even, like, people are talking to me like, what'd you say? I can't even hear you, because you're here, and I'm 1 year from now. Listen to what I said. I could no longer hear current conversations, because I was 1 year from that conversation. So I started doing things. I started going, I went to a car dealership, and I went to this car dealership, and I got in the car, and I've always thought about getting in this car, but I wouldn't allow myself, because until you're willing to do the committed work, it's just a fantasy. Fantasy is the word of the lazy. Fantasy means I'm not gonna go do it. Imagination is creation. Einstein said imagination's a preview of life's coming attractions. See, I wasn't fantasizing, I was imagining and creating. So I remember when I got in the car, the man said, he's like, oh, would you like a test drive? I was like, yes, I would. So I get in this car, and I'm driving around in this car, and I'm driving, and he's like, how do you like it? I was like, this is nice. He's like, would you like to make an offer? I would absolutely like to make an offer when I have the money. He's like, okay. Here's what he said. Well, take my card, and when you're ready, give me a call. So I'm going to the meetings, building the business, going to the meeting, building the business, going back to the dealership once every Saturday. After every Saturday training, I'd go back to the same dealership, drive the same car with the same salesman.
And he lets you.
He's like, James. I'm like, ha ha ha. He's like, shall we? Yes, we shall. And he's like, let me ask you a question. Why do we keep doing this? Because I'm touching my vision. If I can just keep touching my vision,
I'll get there.
it's going to come real. It's going to come true. Because I understand how these things work. So, I'll never get the day back to the dealership with a check in my pocket. And he said, oh, test drive again? No, drive off the lots. Because the car, it's not the point of the car. It's that from becoming the person who get the car, to the person who got the car.
The vision.
There had to be separation. The people that were telling me that this would never work, I had to separate.
Including from myself.
The people that said that good luck, I had to. Now the challenge is I was related to some of them. So I don't mean never talk to them again. I mean when it came to this conversation, we aren't talking. Why? Because I have a dream in my heart. I know it's inside me. You don't know it's inside me. If you laid me down on a table, and if you laid any of us down on a table, and you examined us with an x-ray machine, you would see bones. That's what you would see. If somebody opened us up, you'd see the heart, you'd see the blood vessels, you'd see all those things. You would see all those things, but what you would never see
It's the vision.
inside of anyone is their vision. See, the vision is this thing you're supposed to carry inside of you that no one is supposed to see but you. So why do you need everybody else to buy into the thing that you were given that only you're supposed to see? And if you wait for everyone to catch up to your vision before you allow yourself to have one,
You're gonna.
you end up settling. Am I making sense?
Yes.
If I'm making sense, raise your hands.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. In our business, failure, or forget the outcome, failure in our business is just never trying. You know how many people I see, man, they come to this event, or an event like this, and they're like, oh my God, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going. But I need to talk to my wife first. Respect that, understand how marriage works, okay? I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, excited, I'm excited, I'm gonna go. But I just need till January 2022, and then I'll definitely have the money to get started. I'm gonna ask the sound guys to turn up the sound a little bit for me, and I want you to see something. Just pay attention to it, okay?
Wait, I might make it this much about that.
Did you know that? Did you know that an ant can't leave a circle drawn around it? Because it thinks that's a barrier it can't get over? What are the circles you've drawn? What are your circles? What are the circles you've drawn that you've trapped yourself inside? Most first circles are, the first circle was everybody else. But the second circle is you drawing it for yourself. And we tend to draw even smaller circles for ourselves than the people around us. Has anyone in this room ever imagined being totally financially free? Like free. It's not about you make just millions of dollars. I mean, you have time and money. Like you're free. Raise your hand if you have ever had that thought. How long ago did you have that thought? A year, 2 years, 5 years? How long ago?
Many years ago, man.
How many of you had that thought at least within the last 5 years? How about you had the thought before 5 years ago, like maybe within the last 10 years? Raise your hand. Okay, got it. So if you had the thought 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and it hasn't happened yet, I'm telling you, it's time to put your pen down and stop drawing circles. You don't need to trap yourself in circles you create for yourself. Because on the other side of that line is everything that the ant just wants to get out. You know, you need to really stop only believing what you see and start revealing what will be. You need to stop. You need to stop believing everything that you're just seeing. And you need to start just believing. Let me tell you something. When you look at an acorn, you don't look at the acorn and think, if this drops to the ground in the proper circumstance, it's going to pollinate into it. There's going to be a tree, a small little stem is going to break out. But before that acorn breaks ground, it has to break through the shell. Then it breaks through the ground. And have you ever seen has anyone ever seen like a little sprig coming out of the ground? Think about this. How deep is this for a second? You walk on the ground every day. Stop, 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 stop. And you see this little plant pushing its way on the same dirt that supports your body weight. Yet it just keeps going up. And then one day you see a tree. But what's crazy about the tree you see is that the tree that you see has connected to it these acorns in this example. And when those acorns from that tree fall to the ground, the process duplicates. And so inside of every acorn is not a tree, it's actually a forest. But you look and you only see the acorn. You see, because you can only see what you can see at one time, but I'm telling you that inside of every one of you sitting in this room, you have no idea how powerful you really are. Ladies, let me talk to you for a second. Where are the ladies at? Ladies. You, ladies. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Ladies. Yes. I understand what you hear. I understand what you hear. But I want you to hear me clearly today. Ladies, you are the most powerful things on this planet.
Thank you.
You are literal creators.
God knows.
Men. Gentlemen, are you listening to the words out of my mouth?
Yes.
Okay. You ready, gentlemen?
Yes.
Love, protect, and support your women. You weren't expecting that, huh, guys? So ladies, don't give up your power.
Never again. Never again.
And men, don't give up your responsibility. Are you getting something? Okay, good, because I got more. It's all about that green button, baby, the green button. The seed is you. The water is your commitment. The soil is this business. seed on dry ground produces not a thing. It's your commitment that's everything. You have to commit to what your mind's eye sees. Are you with me? Yes. Okay. You know, it's so amazing. Who has an iPhone in here? Raise your hands. I have this iPhone. Man, it's so crazy. Like, I look at it and it opens. I remember my phone's not doing this. But do you know, in September, they're releasing another iPhone? Some point this year, they'll release another Android phone. Do you notice that every time they upgrade the phone, what is the thing that they focus the most on upgrading? The camera. You know, it's like, have you noticed on your phone that the number 1 on the last phone is still the number 1 on this phone? Okay. But the very first thing that they do when they release it is like, at the iPhone launch, they'll say, oh, we've designed a phone and it is absolutely beautiful. We've created the new HK24 LV1 camera. Oh. Real life picture display. Mr. Leisure, where is he? Is Leisure around here somewhere? So Leisure told me this. I had my old iPhone and I took a photo with my iPhone. And Leisure said to me, he's like, buddy, really man, like I have to save you from yourself. I'm like, what do you mean, Leisure? He's like, buddy, you're an SVP. The photos from that phone are crap. Okay? Real conversation. We're in South Africa, we're having a conversation. I'm like, whoa. What you think of my phone? He's like, let me show you a photo that would be beautiful. Now, if you've ever been around Leisure, he knows how to promote something. He's like, oh, look at this. That's brilliant. So I looked at my photo, I looked at his photo, I went home, and I bought a new phone. And then I messaged him, I got my new phone. He's like, brilliant. Okay. The reason why these phones are being upgraded is because we're trying to see the best possible picture of what is. Does that make sense, everybody? Mm-hmm. Like, we want it to be as real as possible. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Like, really, really real. Okay? So much so that we actually forget that the absolute best real is by looking at it. I've been to concerts. I saw Beyonce. Anyone ever see Beyonce in concert? Oh, this is, yeah, all that, right? And Beyonce was like, I'm here. Beyonce was like, maybe like 6 rows back. I got these great seats, I'm all excited. And the entire time Beyonce is singing, everybody's doing this. So they paid all this money to go and see her live. And I'm like, that's YouTube. Like, that's YouTube. Why are you doing that? She's right there. And they're like, yeah, I love her. I'm like, move the phone. And these companies know that we're trying to create the most real experience possible. So they've even given us the ability to have real and non-real experiences with these things called filters. And man, we are really good with these filters. I see ladies with bunny rabbit ears. How many of you know that like filtering is actually a big thing now? Mm-hmm. These are all filters. The one in the corner was no filter. But it doesn't matter. Because a filter gives you the ability to see the same thing different. I want you to imagine the history of this country. Let's say like World War II. where everyone is looking at everything that's happening in the war. And England was not in a good place. Financially bankrupt, army nowhere near the size and strength of Germany, and everyone believed that the sky was falling down, and yet one person decided, instead of looking at things from where they are, he created a filter. So we're going to turn up the sound real fast. I just want you to listen to this filter that was created from vision, not from what is.
We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be.
Yes.
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. Yet
We shall never surrender.
That's right.
When everyone around him told him to surrender and have better terms in surrender, Mr. Churchill said, no.
No.
Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna fight everywhere, all the time, until we win. You see, you are only here because he saw what was and ignored it. He saw evidence and ignored it. He saw what was possible and believed in that. And he routed an entire small country to believe that they could accomplish something no one else in the world thought they could accomplish. You are only here because of one person believing. So here's my question. Who in your life and your family needs you to get rid of what is and create what can be? Are you willing to fight? Or when someone says no, does it hurt your feelings? Mommy doesn't want to become your customer and it won't work? Oh God. Mr. Lancaster, my brother won't support me. I just don't know why he won't support me. I just feel so bad. Is that the best you got? You come from that? You're here because of that? And your granny saying no knocks you out the box? Granny? Granny? Really? Granny? Your boyfriend said it won't work? Your girlfriend said it won't work? Boyfriend? Girlfriend? You have no rights unless there's a ring. So don't tell me, boyfriend, my boyfriend won't support me. Excuse me? Excuse me? Excuse me? Don't let me meet your boyfriend. I will hurt your boyfriend's feelings. I will hurt your girlfriend's feelings. Hey, why are you with them? Hey, if they don't support current dreams, your later years will be a nightmare. I'm sorry, is that too honest? You know, it's an amazing thing that in this world, with so many people end up with and listening to people that don't envision them bigger than they are. Oh, God. Man, imagine you've got big dreams, big heart, big desires, laying next to small minds. Begging small mind to think bigger. Small mind supposed to be small. You're supposed to be big. So take your big self and find a big thinker and live a big life. I will never be invited back to the UK. Hey guys, it's been great. Have a really good time here. Thank you so very much. You know, it's so amazing to me. I love coming to London, and I heard that there are 110 spoken languages just in London. Wow. Because in America, where I live in Maryland, we have English and broken English. That's it. That's it. I'm thinking 110 languages. And yet everybody in this room that represents one of those 110 languages, we all want the same thing. Someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for. That's everyone. But let me tell you something. I want you to do me a favor. For a minute. Just trust me, okay? Close your eyes. For those of you that have issues closing your eyes, you close your eyes the fastest. No one's stealing your wallet. Just close your eyes. It's not hard to do. Just close your eyes. I want you to imagine you really take this business seriously. I want you to imagine one day Mr. Mike Kupis goes to the podium and calls your name. And you're promoted as a regional vice president or senior vice president of this company. I want you to imagine your families are with you. Children, spouses, close friends are on that stage. I want you to imagine that you're giving your story about what you did in your life in order to get on that stage. I want you to imagine knowing that you'll never have to work for somebody else another day in your life. What would it be like to be home with your children instead of childcare? How about seeing the world? How about using your documents and taking a one-way vacation because you don't know when you're coming back? And I want you to look at the person in your mind's eye that needs you to be successful the most. They're counting on you to be successful. They believe in you. And I want you to imagine looking at them saying, you don't have to think about anything else again. I'll take care of it. I want you to imagine your most incredible life right now. You see it? I want you to imagine the rest of your life being the best of your life. The best health, the greatest love, the most success. Now open your eyes. That's vision.
Saying with your eyes
Did you
closed.
see it? Hey, more than see it. Did you feel it?
Oh, yes.
Did you really feel it? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. That's the real you. And you know what's incredible? What you just saw is what God has given specifically just to you. So since visions are from God, let no man or woman steal your vision. Because I have a vision for all of you. Can I share it before I'm done?
Yes.
Here's my vision. For everyone in this room. That at some point, whether through YouTube or live, I get to hear your story that you just saw. Because the world needs free people. You free your mind first, then you become free. What you just did, you can do every single day. Your eyes may see 2020, your vision sees years into the future. You are creating from vision, not from sight. God has given you sight and vision. Most want you to use sight as reality. God wants you to use sight as the beginning.
Vision.
Vision is your ultimate. So AC in Europe. This day, maybe not any other day. This year, maybe not any other year. Make a promise to yourself. Make a promise to yourself. And here's the promise. No matter what's going on, I understand what the bank account may say right now. That's what your eyes are seeing right now. But what will the vision create for you if you stop looking at that number and start creating the number you want? I know who you may be thinking that you need to be with right now. But who's the person you're really supposed to love and be with? That's your vision. I know the body you're in right now. But what's the body you really want? And every day, when you don't see it, because sometimes we get clouded up, just remind yourself, it's time to see the real me. And you close your eyes for that moment when everything around you doesn't look right. And you create what you want it to look like. And then you go get it. Whatever it is, you go get it. Last thing I'm going to share with you. Just repeat it back to me. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life. I declare that the rest of my life will be the best of my life.
Now see the real me. The real me. The real me.